welcome, Madea. Thank you for joining me this morning. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So, for the audience, my name is Donna Marie of Best Life Wellbeing, and I have some notes here, so I'll be glancing down. I believe the well-being of your whole being is the way of living your best life. And the purpose of me interviewing a series of people, starting with Madea, is to present to you people who are living their whole life of well-being. And so well-being is not one-dimensional, it's a multi-dimensional thing. Happiness is not one-dimensional. And in order to be happy, I'm looking at people who are living their best life of well-being. So Madea, I'm going to introduce her. Madea Allen, affectionately known as the Organic Soul Chef, is owner and operator of Organic Soul Chef. She became a professional chef at the Natural Gourmet Institute of Health and Culinary Arts. Madea is a Young Living essential oils distributor and has been cooking with essential oils since 2007, as well as using them for her own well-being. Madea is trained as a doula, and she graduated from the Institute of Integrative Nutrition, where she studied a variety of dietary theories and practical lifestyle coaching methods. She's so amazing. I can go on and on. So I condensed this bio, but there is so much more. She's a certified health coach through the American Association of Drugless Practitioners. She's a Reiki master teacher and a practitioner. She's certified by the Theo Group as a soul integration facilitator. She's a Kundalini yoga instructor or teacher, and currently she is studying for her Doctor of Oriental Medicine. Madea is also a new author and recently released her first book titled How to Cook with Essential Oils, which has already made the Amazon bestseller list. And I want you to know I got my copy.
Oh, yay!
And because this is a virtual background, you can't really see it that great, but I do have my copy here, Madea. And I'm so happy for you. So again, welcome, 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 welcome. You're welcome. So we talked a bit about your everyday life as a mom. First of all, you're the only person I know who gave birth to your child at home. Can you please share that experience with me? And you know, that's something I would love to go back in time and do, but can you share a bit about that experience?
Sure. Well, first, let me just say my work as a doula, it encouraged me or inspired me to want to birth at home. No shade on our hospitals. However, where I was working as a doula in Rhode Island, I just saw a lot of things that I know I didn't want to face when it was time for me to give birth, like being pressured in terms of time to deliver. I think birth is a very sacred, divine, spiritual thing that doesn't necessarily align with human time. So I made that decision way back in 2002, and I gave birth in 2009. And I was living in Brooklyn, New York at the time. My partner at the time wasn't on board. Many people weren't on board with when I made that decision. But I knew what I was, going to do. So I got myself a doula, as I knew that, doulas are important. And it was a sister who I just met, and she was doing her training. And I was like, hey, you want to come, assist me during my birth? So she said yes. And so I was like, oh, this is going to be so good. Of course, I had a certified nurse midwife, amazing woman, healer, herbalist. Just shout out to her. So, so in the beginning of my care, though, I did have a couple of months of seeing a regular OBGYN, but then I was like, no, I'm going to have my midwife come. So anyway, the day of, also another prep thing is I made sure to have my oils, essential oils that are, necessary for assisting with labor once it starts. So I got with my Young Living mentor. And I remember us meeting, Manhattan, just writing down all the oils I needed. And she gave me little vials to put the oils. It was just fun. I was like, yes. And she said, don't use until labor starts. And she told me where, on our body to actually rub that oil to stimulate, which I think is actually one of the acupuncture points. But anyway, I remember it was a snowstorm coming. So the day before, I made sure to go grocery shopping. And I remember having Braxton Hicks contractions at the Park Slope Food Co-op. I remember just going down the aisle and stopping and breathing. And anyway, I got all that I needed. So I was like, innately, I knew that I needed to have all my little snacks and food ready to go for the week, several weeks actually, because I knew I was going to stay in after birthing. Woke up the morning and those contractions were pretty regular and intense. Called my midwife, called a doula. So she came over to the apartment, and I feel like it was about 9, 10 in the morning when she came and checked me. And she's like, oh yeah, you're starting to dilate, and no effacement yet, but okay, cool. So I just kind of did my thing. I remember cooking. I made a bomb, like roasted chicken soup that day. I remember dancing. I had my music on. I remember the essential oil diffuser. Remember my midwife was telling the doula, I lived on the fourth floor of a 4-story walk-up, no elevator in that building. Wow. So yeah, so my midwife was like, walk her up and down the stairs, just so we can keep it moving, keep progressing. And so, yeah, I can just remember us walking up and down the stairs. So this is January, so I'm not going outside. It's pretty cold. And yeah, it was an amazing time. I remember not being checked again in terms of, by my midwife until about 8 in the evening. Like, she wasn't too invasive, like every hour or how often ever they do it in hospitals. Like, she had like I think just a very innate knowing, like when it's time to check. And so once she checked me, I was already dilated completely, ready to push. Wow. And I think she was just watching me, making, just knowing how my movement was and contractions, because I could remember from the beginning of the day to the time of pushing, it was a more like internal journey. Everything was exciting in the beginning and outward, but I remember things slowing down and me focusing inward more. The stew was done, the music got dimmed and more clothes started coming off and I just had my robe on. Yeah, so it was fascinating. I wanted to do a water birth, so I borrowed my friend's birthing pool, and so we set it up very early in the day, and then by the time I was ready to get in it, the water was too cold. So I, tasked my doula with warming the water up. So for some reason that hot water wasn't coming out too much, so she had to put pots on the stove to warm up that water. And I think in her nervousness, like, she accidentally set the pot on the pool and the whole thing bursted. Like, all the water started coming out. And I can remember like being in the bathroom at the time, actually, full disclosure, on the toilet. And I was having a contraction. And when I heard kind of that commotion in the next room, my contraction stopped. And I was like, oh, wow. It was like in that moment, a very clear connection between how outer stress can affect the progress, of labor. So I was like, oh, okay, let me not focus. They going to work that out, or I'm going to know what to do. So I decided to get in the tub. And I was like, okay, that's not working. I'm going to get in the tub. And because I was eating during the day, now I understand why in the hospital they tell your mother, don't eat. Because I was eating, there was something coming out in the tub, and I said, oh, I can't birth in here. So then I got on my hands and knees eventually, just on some blankets on the floor. and was just in the most comfortable position for me, which was my hands and knees. Yeah. And I pushed, and there was. He came out
Wow.
looking like he had been here a kabillion times before, looking me straight in the eyes. I said, wait, I thought babies were born with their eyes closed. Like, why is he staring at me? But I knew, and he knew, like, good to see you again. Let's
Yeah.
go.
Yeah. That is so awesome. That is so.
Yeah. So thank you for having me kind of retrace that journey. I don't talk about it often. So, yeah, thanks.
That's beautiful. So I just, I don't know if you probably don't know this because we haven't really talked on a personal level, but I became a parent at age 17. And again, like I said, if I could go back in time and do it again, I would do it the way I wanted to do it. At age 17 and 23, I have two children.
Mm-hmm.
But still very young both times. And as an adult, you are clear about your intentions and how you want to do things. And when you're a teen parent, you kind of listen to what your parents and what other adults are guiding you to do. And so again, if I could go back in time, I would do what you did, Madea.
Mm-hmm.
So just look at my questions here. Tell me a bit about you becoming a chef. I know you studied with the Institute for Integrative Nutrition. I'm not sure which one came first. I think you were a chef first, right? And
I was trained at IIN first. So that's an interesting story. Let's see, how do I start that story? Okay, so I'll say this. Growing up, I knew I was going to be a doctor, right? I remember like 5 years old, people asking me what I wanted to be when I grew up. I want to be a doctor. I got to Dartmouth and they didn't have a pre-med major, but you still had to just take all your courses to take the MCAT when you graduated. Dartmouth was very rigorous. It wasn't, it's not like I couldn't handle it. It was very rigorous. And my mother actually passed away halfway through my time in school, my sophomore year. And I remember at that time just deciding that I was actually going to study what I wanted to study and just, still finish on time, but just switch gears, right? So I became a psychology major, studied Portuguese, went to Brazil, I kind of put the medical school thing on hold. And then I said, okay, what I'll do is I'll do my post-bacs. Like post-bac is basically all your courses. After you've gotten your bachelor's degree, you can go and take all the post-bacs to go to medical school. But I decided that's what led me to be a doula. I said, hey, well, while I'm gonna, work on the post-bac studies, let me get hands-on experience working in a medical setting. That's what inspired me to do the perinatal educator and doula work through Health Corps, which is basically like AmeriCorps. So I went and did that for a year, and I was actually, I don't know, I think something shifted in terms of how I saw the medical world, how the system of medicine is delivered in this country. At least it's in a community health setting. What I saw is that patients just weren't having quality time with doctors. Doctors were very busy, nurses were very busy, and I just didn't see like that necessary connection being made. And I was like, why would I take time and money to become that? I'm not interested in being rushed through a medical system that didn't really deliver the medicine that I knew I was here to deliver. So I decided I didn't want to go to medical school. And then I went to New York City after being in Rhode Island as a doula. And I was just working, actually just helping families get like developmental services for their children who had developmental delays. But then like a year and a half after that, I was feeling like, I don't feel like going to work. Like I don't feel like getting up and it's raining. I'm not going to work. Every excuse would be, preventing me from being excited to get to work. So I knew that I needed to like get quiet and really go in and see what's happening. What will bring me joy? What would want me to get up out of the, bed in the morning and be excited to work? So I remember having a conversation with my older brother, and he was doing Le Cordon Bleu at the time, a culinary school in Texas. And he was like, "You're in New York City. Why don't you just go ahead and be a chef? You know, we come from a family of chefs and cooks. My mother was an amazing cook. So go ahead, just do that. That's easy." And I was like, oh, chef. I didn't even think about cooking. That was the furthest thing. I just knew that I loved cooking and loved to eat, but I wasn't organic soul chef at that point. Like, I didn't activate all the memories that I had of my mom. Not yet. So I started to just look, okay, holistic culinary schools. I think I Googled that at the time. It was like 2004-ish. Yeah, 2004. And then the Natural Gourmet Institute for Health and Culinary Arts came up. Well, actually, Natural Gourmet Cookery School was what it was called at the time. And that popped up. And they were having an open house. So I got on the train and went on over there into Manhattan. And I just felt like I had come home. Like, from the moment I got off the elevator, looked around, it's like, there's something very familiar about this place. Why do I feel like I'm just comfortable? Like, and I can actually like be paid to cook for people? Oh, sign me up. You know, I was just, a little wheels started turning in my head. So, okay, I had the tour, got excited. And as I was leaving the open house to get on the elevator, I saw a bright red magazine with a spiral, a white spiral, and it caught my eye. So I just grabbed it. And on my train ride home, I read it cover to cover, and that was the Institute for Integrative Nutrition's magazine at the time. They had physical copies like that at the time. And Donna, every word, I felt like it spoke to me about, you know, like helping people to eat better and feel better and become a health coach. I didn't know what that was. I was just excited. The only coach I was exposed to, I remember Ayanna Bonzant doing Starting Over, this show that came on, I think around 2004 or so. And she was call herself a life coach. And she would get with these women, give them these tools and tasks, you know, to do to get over their hurdles and this and that. And I was so inspired. I still love Ayanna Bonzant to this day.
Me too.
Yeah. Love the way she just gets to the cut to, you know, chase and help people up level. So anyway, I was kind of thinking like, yeah, okay, if I can include some of that when I do as a health coach, that would be exciting. So went to IIN's, their open house, and they were still doing live classes at the time. So I actually went to open house, got excited. Yep, I'm gonna do it. So I signed up for IIN first because I could pay for it first. So I was trained there for, you know, a full year. We were still doing the live classes. And then once I graduated, as soon as I graduated from IIN, I enrolled at the Natural Gourmet. And it was just the perfect steps to take because everything I had learned in theory at IIN was then put into practice, you know, in the kitchen at Natural Gourmet. Yeah. And I said, yeah, this is the new way to study nutrition. No more like, you know, mental, everything in your head, counting calories. No, I think every nutritionist, like, who's really committed to helping people change the way they eat, you have to understand food in the kitchen. Like, you don't have to be a chef. I'm not saying that, but food comes alive through your meals, through your recipes, through your cooking. It's not enough to give somebody this list of foods and say, okay, bye, you know. You got to know the ins and outs of food. So that was my roundabout way of sharing like how I did IIN and then Natural Gourmet. But it was just the perfect thing.
That is awesome. And so I love hearing that. So first of all, part of well-being is being able to connect with yourself, to go inside, to go deep inside. And you saying that waking up and going to work, you recognize that wasn't giving you joy. And that wasn't the path, and that you had to be still and ground yourself. And as your journey continued, can you share what you've done to keep that positive energies, to stay connected to that higher frequency? How do you stay grounded? What internal messages and what do you do to encourage yourself? Because going to an Ivy League institution, losing your mother, changing your major, not having a sense of where you wanted to go, that required you to be still, and to trust the process, to live in
Mm-hmm.
the moment, and to remain hopeful. And can you share a bit about what do you do as a health coach, as a yoga instructor, as a person who believes in electric foods? What do you do to keep yourself grounded and focused and energized?
Yeah, I mean, it's a composite of things. But having a regular spiritual practice is the key for me. It's my first, I get fed spiritually, before I do anything else. So I do spiritual exercises daily. I'm on a spiritual pathway where, yeah, it's all about maintaining your direct connection with the Holy Spirit. And yeah, it's so one of my favorite spiritual exercises to do is to chant Hu. Hu, Hu, is basically like an ancient name for God. And you can be of any faith, any religion. You don't even have to believe in God. Just connect to the sound. There is a lot of healing in connecting to the sound current. And a lot of people can see that if they have yoga practices that include sound, like Kundalini Yoga is one of them. But very simple. I make sure every day, at least 20 minutes, I'm chanting Hu. So Hu is it's like a form of prayer. It's non-directed prayer. You're not necessarily asking for anything. You're simply chanting it. And when you chant Hu or sing Hu, it's like a love song to God, actually. So it's all about that alignment and that gratitude and that appreciation. And that is like the path to opening up to what it is that you're supposed to be doing, because everybody's path is not the same. So it opens that connection to who you are as soul, which I believe is our, like our guiding force here. And that soul is directly connected to what we call God.
Okay. So other than the chanting, I get spiritually, that is foundational
Mm-hmm.
to me for all of us. And I'm glad you said that you don't have to be, you don't even have to believe in God to connect. Spirit is not even about God. It's recognizing the divine.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't necessarily have to call it God. So other than first you do your spiritual practice, and are there any mantras or um, anything else that you might do to just help you to maintain your focus?
Sure. So Hu is a mantra. And I
Okay,
also,
okay.
yeah. And I do actually have my own secret words that I chant. Sometimes journaling is a daily practice for me, because that's the way I can actually translate what I've just received in that moment of connection. So when I'm writing, I'm actually like getting in the physical form. What are my orders from spirit today? I
Okay.
don't do anything without checking in first. So everything that you read in my bio, that's me listening. I didn't do any of that for any accolades, any, names on plaques one day. No, that's in moments of cry, for help. What next? Where am I going? What am I doing? So I journal, and to get that clear connection, that clear direction. Okay, all right, this is what I'm going to do. And then from there, okay, we're going to eat a good meal, good warming breakfast, to get our digestive fire going. We're going to do some movement, maybe some Kundalini yoga, some Qigong, get outside, breathe some fresh air. Who can I serve today? How can I be of service? What really helped me in my life, which was like a turning point for me, of stop always trying to like take and receive, but balance by giving. Because only those moments when I just, feel like, oh God, what am I going to do? The question is, how can you serve? And then in that serving and giving and sharing, then I'm receiving, then I'm blessed. So, the days are different in the sense of who am I serving? How am I serving today? What am I accomplishing? Um, scheduling is important to me. Scheduling keeps me sane because, having so many things to do,
Yes.
a schedule reduces like the overwhelm and how am I going to get it done? Just plan it out. So having a plan, sticking to the plan, just checking in moment to moment. My faith is a moment to moment experience, and I just ask and I follow. That's pretty much
Well,
what I do.
that's beautiful. At Best Life Wellbeing, spiritual is foundational. And everything you talked about, your mantras, your getting out in nature, even cooking, all of that is spiritual. And so I appreciate you sharing that. Thank you so much.
Mhm. You're
But,
welcome.
my father was a chef, and my
Mm.
mother, a country girl from Louisiana, so an excellent cooking. And in some cases, there were dishes that she would outcook my father on. And so he had a little competition in the home with cooking.
Mhm.
And he was also a caterer. And some of my fondest memories are when family came together to, prepare for an event my father was having. And it could be even Christmas time, or any holiday time, or any gathering. Both my mom and my dad had really large families. And so we spent all of our holidays as families, with our family members. And so we did lots and lots of cooking. So I have very, very fond memories of not just the eating of the food, because eating in itself is a spiritual thing.
Mhm.
And being from Louisiana, it is a bigger than spiritual thing. It's a big aspect of who we are as a people. And the odd part today is that people are getting away from cooking. People are getting away from being able to identify what real food is. And that is so disturbing to me, considering, not even considering the obesity epidemic and other chronic illnesses that are impacting the lives of particularly African American people. But the fact that we as a country are getting away from being able to identify real food, it's really disturbing to me. So one of the things you mentioned is that when you were sharing the story of birthing your son, you went to your co-op the day before to get food. And I've seen on your Instagram page where you talk a lot about your co-op. Can you tell me a bit about how you shop for food? What do you look for? And organic, do you get everything organic, or you just share with me, how do you do your shopping?
Hmm. Sure. So yeah, I'm not in Brooklyn anymore, of course. So I don't belong to the Park Slope Food Co-op. But co-ops exist all around the country. I think that was probably like the oldest one. So being able to get food more reasonably priced is the reason why I belong to that co-op. So I think that is, a great thing to explore for people who have co-ops. Because it's like work share. You go in and give time, and then you receive food at a more reasonably priced rate. Right now, I belong to a CSA, so that's a community supported agriculture. Basically, it's like you buy a share from a farmer, and then they guarantee you, a weekly share during the growing season. Typically May, sometimes April, all the way until the end of November. So that allows me, number one, to support local agriculture, support, my Black woman farmers who, bring so much amazing gift and talent, and may not necessarily be recognized as other farmers in agriculture. So, everything they plant is organic. It's important to me to have food that is sustainably grown. So while, everything may not be necessarily labeled organic, it's important for people to have relationships with the people who grow their food so they know what was, actually what's the process. Do they use artificial fertilizers? Do they use chemical sprays? Like we have to really get back into having a relationship with our food on all levels, from the way that it's grown to the way that it's composted, it's like the full cycle of life. So having fresh produce is important for me, and that's where I get all of my fresh produce is from the CSA. When I'm looking at food, of course, I'm smelling it, I'm touching it, and right now in days of COVID, it's kind of a challenge to, be able to really get up close to food sometimes because of the germs that exist. So glove up, wash your hands really well. And really, I get to the point where I can feel the vibration from food. And some people are more sensitive than others. Again, you don't have to have that ability, but you have to understand that certain foods have a certain color, they have a texture, they have a smell. So I'm just looking for that, like that freshness from my produce. I love getting just lots of whole grains. I have my pantry at home. I have a variety of whole grains so that I can, mix and match during the week. Having basic seasonings is important because you have to make sure your food tastes good, but not only tastes good, seasonings are medicinal. So I have the little season organizers called Spice Stack. I got that off of Amazon, and it gosh, you can put at least 35 bottles of spices, and it's a good space saver in the kitchen. So I actually have 2 because I have a lot of spices. So yeah.
I have a cabinet full of spices, and I'm always, searching and having it's really high up. So I got to get on a stool to get back in the back when I can't find something I need right in the front. So a spice stack, I'm going to remember that.
Yes, it's such I love organization because when I'm organized, it saves time and I'm not as stressed. So that's one thing I love, teaching people when they work with me is how do you set yourself up for success in the kitchen? And having, a clutter-free kitchen is important, having your spices organized. But yeah, when I'm shopping for food, it's a full-on thing. I don't like to rush, and I make sure I have my list so it keeps me, on task. I'm not buying extra stuff out of budget.
Yes.
But that list is going to be from how I'm going to plan my meals for the week. So again, it's like it's a process, it's a system.
Is everything organic when you shop?
Pretty much it is. I'd have to say I shop at places like Whole Foods, Yes Market, sometimes Mom's. But the other day, no, I'll say this. The other day I went to Harris Teeter and I went to the organic section, and that's a very small section. I don't know what their turnaround is for their organics. So some of the broccoli, it didn't look as great. It just didn't. And so I was like, no, I'm not going to pay extra for broccoli that looks like this. So I went to the conventional section and I got conventional broccoli, and then, got it home and I washed it. I used lemon therapeutic grade essential oil, put it in water, fill up a big bowl and wash it, and put my love into it, and it's organic.
All right. So on that note, Madea, tell me about the services you offer as a organic soul chef. Do you teach cooking? As you stated, you help people to organize their kitchen. And so tell me about not just your organic soul chef services. We'll start there, but you also you have a host of services you offer. And so tell me about all of those, but start with the organic soul chef, and is it also coaching? It's not just teaching to cook, but is it also helping? I mean, it's coaching, but teaching to cook through, that's a part of the coaching. So tell me about it.
Sure. So, right now responding to, COVID-19 pandemic, I've made sure I have a number of services set up virtually. So all the things I mentioned, and people can actually access those virtually. So yes, I do offer coaching, private one-on-one coaching. If a person recognizes that, okay, hey, I have a number of, challenges in my health, I need help with this and that, they can work with me one-on-one in my individualized coaching program. So that can be found on my website. So that's one aspect. I have actually a virtual cooking club that is, has kicked off this fall, and that includes, the whole series is 7 classes, but people can come in and purchase single classes, but we basically get together virtually and we cook healthy recipes, and you're doing it from the comfort of your own home. So I provide you with the recipes, the prep list, the equipment you need, a list of equipment things that you need to get started. So it's a couple of hours, and I mean, people have been doing online stuff for a long time. I've been teaching online since I started my business 15 years ago.
I did IIN online.
Yeah. So it wasn't a huge pivot for me. I just needed to, rework, my offerings, but teaching online is pretty easy to do. So we have the virtual cooking club. It's actually starting this Saturday. So folks, come on. So that's the virtual cooking club. And then I do offer the Kundalini yoga classes virtually. So I have a beginner series happening, and a lot of people are new to yoga, and it can be kind of intimidating to start a practice. So I have this series where I just break down from zero, like how to start successfully practicing yoga. What are the things to look out for? What techniques are there? So you can also find that. I have basically a link where people can go and they can access all my online virtual services and book and all that. So that's that. And then I have Reiki. So, I do that one-on-one, and I've been doing distance Reiki for quite a while. So, like you and I are connected right now. So this is how I would connect with people in a Reiki session. And I'm basically, connecting with that divine healing energy, working with whatever specific things they want to address in the session. So that can be done.
I have a question about Reiki.
Mm-hmm.
So the little bit I know about Reiki is that it involves touch.
Mm-hmm.
And so are you teaching the practitioner how to touch themselves, and when I say touch, it's more like massage, but you explain to me what Reiki is and how you actually have a online distant Reiki.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so actually Reiki, it can include touch, and it can also not be necessary depending on the ability of the practitioner. So yeah, I've done hands-on Reiki where I'm physically present with the person. Sometimes I'm directly touching their skin, but for me, it works very efficiently if I'm like above, because I have a lot of energy running through my hands. So when I'm working with people, virtually, it's almost like I have like an energetic map of their like electromagnetic body, right? Present. Reiki practitioners basically are connecting to, divine spirit, just quite simply connecting to the vibration of wellness for that particular client's highest good. So I don't direct anything, I'm just a conduit. So as I get feedback from them of what it is they want to work on, I then get in my alignment, and then that energy goes where it's needed on the person. And so a lot of people are like, I don't really understand that. I catch you in a few years when I catch up. Some people are like, come on, let's do it. The effectiveness of Reiki is really about the person's ability to receive. I can be the best healer from here to kingdom come. It does not make a difference. We each individually have to be open to receiving. I don't force anything. I'm only here as a channel and a conduit. You have to do the work of opening and actually receive it. And that just goes with anything. Like, you offer a good meal to somebody, and if they don't have the wherewithal to open their mouth, open their appetites, open their stomach, they're not going to receive that meal you just made.
That's right.
So so Reiki, it's done in that way. And again, I can do it on a spiritual realm. That's just one of my giftings.
Okay. Well, I will definitely share your link to all of the services you offer. And
Thank you.
tell me just quickly a bit more about this cooking club. So
Mm-hmm.
it starts Saturday, correct?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And what's Saturday's date? I don't have it in front of me. Saturday.
It's is that the 10th? I think it's the 10th. Let me
Yes, that is
see.
correct. Saturday, October 10th.
Mm-hmm.
And it's 7 weeks, you said, right?
So we meet every other week. So
Every
we have
other week.
classes. We have classes that start the 10th. The next one is the 24th. And so on and so forth. And so the last class of that series is actually January 2nd. It's actually
Okay.
like kind of like a cleansing type of class, how to cleanse after the holiday foods.
Okay. That
Mm-hmm.
sounds very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a fee for the cooking club?
Yeah, so it's actually, if you purchase single classes, that's $50 a class. If you register for the entire series, you get 30% off. And let
Okay.
me make sure I'm not making that up. You look at my link. I want to give the correct information. Yeah, for the 7, it is. Yeah, it is a 30% off discount when you purchase the entire series. Yep.
Okay. Now,
Yep. There's $245 for the whole series.
all right, that sounds good. I think that's wonderful, and that would
Thank
be
you.
very helpful to people learning or wanting to learn more about how to cook. And a lot of us are at home, and so this is the perfect time for it.
Yeah, indeed.
So now let's talk about the book here, which
Yay.
will, yes, thank you. Doors up because my virtual background is so hold it up again for me. So how
Right.
to cook with essential oils and
Mm-hmm.
over 50 soul stirring recipes full of flavor, freshness, and vitality. Okay, and so
Yes.
first, just reading this title before we get into the book, this reminds me, your background, you're Jamaican,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so
Yeah.
much of these flavors and so you mentioned your mom is a cook. Is
Mm-hmm.
your father also a cook or?
Yeah, my mother was an excellent cook. My father was an excellent cook too. So when you talk about your parents, it made me think about my parents. My father, he wasn't a professional cook, but he, could throw down all his Caribbean recipes. And he claimed that he taught my mother how to, cook, but she burned in the kitchen. She cooked like she was raised in Kingston.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So a
they,
lot of
yeah,
your recipes, I'm sure, will be very flavorful, not just because of your experience as a chef, but also you incorporate your background, your Jamaican background, and that flavorful food and even herbs and the medicinal aspect of your food. So this, your cookbook, Cooking with Essential Oils, so you don't get all of the flavor. You also get the oils, which contribute to the flavor, but also contributes to your health and overall well-being. So tell me about the
mhm.
book and tell me about some of these recipes.
Sure. So this book this is my new baby, born September 20th.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. So, when I first learned about Young Living, I learned about it through a fellow IIN coach and chef. That was my introduction. She was doing a cooking demo in Brooklyn, and she made this salad dressing that had the lemon oil. And I couldn't believe what she was doing because I had never seen anybody do that. So she definitely imprinted that in me, like the power of these oils in food. And I just decided, like, I want to check this out. So I've been cooking with these oils, experimenting. I mean, it's just such a no-brainer because I'm always trying to figure out how do I make this dish elevated in the sense that it's going to help me feel well in my body. I just don't cook just to fill up my stomach. That's not the way my brain works. It's always, what am I facing in my body and how can this meal address that issue? So that's how I choose, ingredients. That's how I choose seasonings and ultimately how I choose essential oils. So it's been really a fun process putting these recipes together. Because a lot of it, I'll actually take traditional recipes. I mean, that's the way I do most times. I'll take the traditional recipe and upgrade it. You know,
Yeah.
put in a better quality oil. I'll put in more veggies. I'll definitely decrease the sugar because we don't need 2 cups of sugar.
Right,
You know?
right.
Yeah. So it's just, I'm like a scientist in the kitchen. So these oils, I just feel like, this excited scientist exploring and cooking. It's just a beautiful way to introduce the concept of food as medicine to people, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good time. I mean, a lot of these recipes I've taught them over the years and cooking demos, cooking classes. The very first version of this was like a recipe booklet I had done, gosh, back in 2012. And that I initially started just with orange essential oils. Orange is powerful in that it has D-limonene, which is anti-carcinogenic. My mother passed away from breast cancer. So I am always very aware of, what can I do in my life to prevent breast cancer and teach others to do the same. So using the orange oil was really significant to me, finding a way to put, orange and lemon and oils like that to really, buffer my body against the cancer-causing agents that we come across, every day, just in everyday living.
Yeah. So I want to just read some of the names of your recipes. A lavender roasted vegetable. Speaking of
Mm-hmm.
orange mashed sweet potatoes. Oh my goodness. I
Mm-hmm.
got to get my oils, so I can get started with some of these recipes. And we've been talking about the oils for a while. So I do need to get that going. And I look forward to trying some of these recipes. And I just want to say this month is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So it's really appropriate that we're having this conversation, considering your mom passed of breast cancer. And I'm so sorry to hear that. I can't imagine, being a young woman in school with this vision. I can't imagine. My heart, just even goes out to you
Thank you.
back then and now, because yes, in breast cancer, we want to do whatever we can and whatever within our power to combat breast cancer. And so just hearing how you're using the oils and thinking about ways in which not just breast cancer, but to combat any disease, especially sugar. Oh my goodness.
Mm.
Sugar is a killer. It is a
Mm-hmm.
killer. And so, just you, I remember you did one recipe, I think it was your mango lassi,
Oh, yeah.
and you eliminated sugar completely, I think. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, this is a beautiful, beautiful recipe.
Yeah.
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 So anyway, I just want to again thank you for your time. We're gonna wrap up. And I just want to say that living your best life of well-being is not something done one day, 1 month, 1 year. It's a way of engaging in and loving your whole life for your whole life. Well-being is multifaceted and multidimensional. And you heard from Madea Allen about her journey and how well-being is, again, just not one day, 1 month. It is a lifetime of learning, of listening. It's a lifetime of spiritual practice. It's a lifetime of being able to connect with yourself and to connect with that higher vibration of energy that keeps you recharged, that keeps you happy. And so thank you for sharing your story. I think you are truly, truly, in my opinion, living your best life. I admire your journey. I admire the decisions that you've made as a woman of strength and power. And I wish you the best. Again, continued success with the selling of your book. I'm
Thank you.
sure there are many, many more books to come. And before we close, can you just share your website, how people can find you on social media? Just give it to them.
Sure, absolutely. So you can find me on my website at organicsoulchef.com. And on social media, Organic Soul Chef at Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, Organic Soul Chef.
All right, and before we close, I just want to say Madea loves to dance. So when you go to the YouTube channel, you'll see her dancing. You'll see her dancing on IG as well. And so I love your energy. I'm going to just put that out there again. And thank you again. I have a picture I want to share with you if I can find it in my tonnage of photos on my cell phone. It's a picture of when I met you at a holiday dinner with Dr. And I walked up to you, and I can't remember exactly what I said to you, but one of the things I wanted to confess is I'm not vegan, and it was a vegan dinner. Like, well, I'm not vegan either, and so I'm like, oh, cool, we can talk about this then.
Oh yeah, we can talk about it all.
Like, let's take a picture, and so I still have that picture, and I'm going to share it with you.
Oh,
and so again, I will. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day, Madea.
Thank you. You too, Donna. And I really appreciated this chat with you.
Yes, thank you. I look forward to connecting with you more because you got a lot going on. And, you know, I practice Bikram yoga, but I don't know much about Kundalini yoga. So I'm looking forward to incorporate and Reiki. Yeah. So
absolutely. Welcome. You're welcome anytime.
Any closing comments from you?
Well, you know, I'm just so grateful. You know, I'm so grateful to be living at this exquisite moment and time. I could have chosen any other time to be alive, but I chose to be alive now. So that means I'm going to take full advantage of everything in my life to use it for good, to inspire people, to inspire myself. And I think ultimately that's why we chose to be here together, is to keep each other remembering that love is the ultimate healer.
Yes, absolutely. So thank you. On that note, we're going to close. I love you, sis.
Thank you. Love you, Donna.
All right. Take care. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
You too. Bye.